Hi guys, and welcome back to Petrolhead Podcasts. The compact SUV segment is one of the hottest on the market, with an almost endless number of contenders within it. The Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4 have consistently been the top-selling and most popular vehicles in this segment. But in recent years, competition such as the Mazda CX-5, Nissan Rogue, Subaru Forester and VW Tiguan have been hot on the heels of these two. So which is the best compact SUV of the six? Join me as I go through an in-depth comparison to give you the answer. But before I proceed, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel to see more great content like this in the future. In last place overall is the Subaru Forester. From the outside, the car is narrow yet tall, which robs it of road presence when viewed from the front. The chrome grille looks cheap and the shape of the headlights having so many creases and cuts is not good looking. The side of the car is the most generic of the six here, and has unnecessary and unartistic dents on the door panels and below the window line. It also looks too similar to the previous generation Forester on the side, that you would be forgiven for thinking this is a mere facelift of the old car. Round back, the tail lights that look like a tooth that's been flipped on the side and also like claws are ugly, and there's nothing really interesting or stand out about the back of the car. Inside, things don't get much better. The Forester's interior looks aging, with lots of glossy plastic all around the car that don't look upmarket. The gauges look old school as well, and the infotainment is nowhere near as intuitive as the best in class to use, although the screen size of 8 inches is decent. Some of the switchgear also feels cheap, especially the plastic buttons around the gear selector. The Forester has good interior space, with 69.2 cubic feet behind the first row and 28.9 behind the second row. The feeling of space in the car is one of the best here, with the most glass area of all the contenders due to its tall body. On the road, the Forester disappoints as well. Despite the rally pedigree Subaru is known for, the Forester has a lethargic throttle response, slow steering, wallowy ride and loss of body roll in corners. It is lacking in character in every respect, something not helped by the underwhelming 2.5-litre 4-cylinder engine paired with a CVT gearbox that produces the lowest outputs of 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque in this group, and the slowest acceleration time of 8.3 seconds to 60 miles an hour. The fuel economy though is good, with ratings of 29 mpg combined and 33 mpg highway. Overall, the Forester cannot hide its shortcomings in exterior and interior styling, the underpowered engine, and the near-complete lack of excitement or precision about its driving experience, and thus finishes last. In fifth place is the Toyota RAV4. For styling, it is attractive and looks the most rugged of the six, with a mini 4Runner vibe about it. The boxy design up front with the geometric-shaped grille and upsweeping headlights looks off-road-alike and a far cry from the bland-looking previous generation RAV4. The plastic wheel arch flares continue the off-road feel and look good, although I do think that the strange way in which the front and rear door handles do not line up, and the indent in the body above the rear wheel arch are a bit random and spoil the look somewhat. Round back, the design echoes the look of the front, and the squared-off taillights and abundance of plastic continues the attractive off-road theme. Inside, the car falls apart a bit. The general quality levels are decent, and a step up from the last generation RAV4, with lots of soft touch materials and leatherette coverings. There are also interesting design elements like the rubber-padded climate control knobs and the storage tray above the glove box. However, the infotainment is aging, with low-resolution graphics and slow responsiveness. The gauge cluster also looks old, with dated graphics and presentation. Interior space is adequate, with 69.8 cubic feet of space behind the first row and 37.6 behind the second row. Rear legroom is also good, although not class-leading. On the road, the RAV4 is a decent car. It has a well-sorted chassis with decent handling, but ride comfort is lacking with a firm suspension tune that makes it feel jittery. Additionally, the 2.5-litre 4-cylinder engine, despite decent outputs of 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, is very loud and rough on the move, detracting from the feeling of sophistication, despite a decent 0 to 60 miles an hour sprint time of 8.2 seconds. The RAV4 manages fantastic economy, with 28 mpg combined and 33 mpg highway. Overall, the current RAV4 is a much better car than it was before, but it remains an average offering that does some things well but other things poorly, and so finishes fifth here. In fourth place is the Honda CR-V. On the outside, the car unfortunately has terrible styling. I feel like Honda did a bad job facelifting the car in 2019, giving it an ugly front bumper with oversized fake air inlets in a weird W shape. On the side of the car, like the Rogue, it looks a bit blobby and a bit minivan-like, with the extremely thick-looking rear end in particular being ugly, and a weird line near the bottom of the doors that looks out of place. Round back, the strangeness continues, with boomerang-style taillights that look like aftermarket items, and a trunk door that again looks like it's from a minivan. Inside, the CR-V is very bland and boring, with a minivan-like shifter, a design that is starting to show its age, and a small 7-inch infotainment display with bad responsiveness and graphics. The hard plastics around the gear shifter and the climate control look and feel cheap, and the digital gauges feel last generation in the company of the Rogue and the Tiguan. The seats though are really comfortable and interior space is impressive, with lots of rear legroom, 75.8 inches of cargo volume behind the first row and 39.2 behind the second row. On the road, the CR-V doesn't offer much driver engagement, with sluggish responsiveness from its CVT gearbox and comfort-oriented suspension. The car does have direct steering and well-controlled body movements though, which is commendable. The 1.5-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine offers 190 horsepower, but only 179 pound-feet of torque. So despite having a fast 7.6 second 0 to 60 sprint time, it feels relatively weak, with loud engine noises, a slow throttle response, and the previously mentioned slow CVT gearbox. The CR-V's economy is excellent though, with 29 mpg combined and 32 mpg highway. The CR-V is a dependable companion that is decent overall, but is nothing special in any way, from its exterior to its interior and to its driving dynamics, and so finishes fourth. In third place is the Nissan Rogue. It looks much better than the previous generation model, with interesting looking two-piece headlights up front, and the bold new Nissan V-Motion grille works well on it. The wide stance that it has relative to its rivals gives the Rogue good road presence. On the side, the Rogue looks a bit blobby with an uninteresting profile, and it looks really thick in terms of body height. Round back, the car has good looking taillights and an interesting tiered look on the trunk door. Inside, it has the best interior of the six. Like with the exterior, there is a tremendous step up from the previous generation model, with lovely stitched leather throughout the cabin. The floating and large 9-inch central touchscreen looks fantastic, and the software also a big step up from previous Nissan systems, although it still isn't the best in the business. The modern looking electronic gear selector looks good, the flat bottom steering wheel is attractive, and the general feeling of quality is high. The car finally also comes with a digital instrument cluster that feels high-tech, and overall I feel the interior of the Rogue is more upmarket and looks better than many Infiniti models, which is just testament to how good it is. Space in the Nissan is also good, with 72.9 cubic feet behind the first row and 36.3 behind the second row. On the road, the Rogue is agreeable with a firm but not overly so ride. There's decent body control, but still not as good as the Mazda or the Volkswagen. The 2.5-litre 4-cylinder engine also comes with a CVT gearbox and has class average 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, which allows it to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 8.1 seconds. The engine is relatively loud when accelerating from low speeds, but quietens down on the highway. The Rogue does 28 mpg combined and 32 mpg highway, placing it near the top of the class. Overall, the new Rogue is a massive step up from the last generation model and feels really upmarket and full of technology, despite having an average driving experience, and deservingly finishes third in the test. In second place is the Mazda CX-5. It is the best looking of the six from the outside. It has often been said that the CX-5 looks like it comes from a luxury brand, and I fully agree with that. From the front, the car has attractive slim LED headlights that flow into the grille to create a clean and upmarket appearance. The large V-shaped Mazda grille looks suitably sporty as well, with the strong wheel arch flaring all around. The car also has a muscular stance on the road. On the side, the CX-5 has a simple but effective design that works well. The distinctive upkick in the window line is a nice touch, and the smooth surfacing adds to the luxury car feel. Round back, the design is admittedly rather plain, but the slim taillights still look good. Inside, the luxury car feeling continues, with metallic detailing adorning the dashboard, air vents, and many of the car's controls, in addition to stitched leather surfaces on many of the car's touchpoints. For 2021, the CX-5 also gets a large 10-inch screen that looks far better than the previous 7-inch item. However, the instrument cluster still looks dated with a traditional 3-gauge design, and so do the climate control buttons and some of the other switchgear in the cabin. Space in the Mazda is also tight, with limited rear legroom, only 59.6 cubic feet of space behind the first row and 30.9 cubic feet behind the second row. On the road, the CX-5 is nimble and well controlled. Body roll is impressively limited, and the ride is firm but forgiving. The steering is sharp and cornering speeds are high for a compact SUV. It is also very quiet at speed and offers impressive refinement. The volume-selling 2.5-litre naturally aspirated engine offers great throttle response and produces 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, which allows the car to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 7.9 seconds. The car manages 26 mpg combined and 30 mpg highway. Overall, the CX-5 is an impressively upmarket product with great styling, high-quality interior, and a wonderful driving experience, and it is just a shame that it looks slightly dated inside and is lacking in interior space compared to its rivals. The winner of this comparison test is the Volkswagen Tiguan. It looks very muscular with a squared-off theme about the car. The front with the large LED headlights that flow into the grille and the high approach angle that gives it an off-road view are attractive, and the chrome slats with the big VW logo looks imposing. On the side, the Tiguan has an understated look with attractive details such as the strong shoulder line that runs from the A-pillar through the door handles and all the way back to the taillights, and the smooth wheel arch flaring. The design round back continues the minimalist theme, with cool graphics in the LED taillights and the sporty-looking exhaust finishes. Inside, it has great in-car technology, including the MIB3 infotainment with gesture control, an 8-inch touchscreen, and the impressive 10.25-inch active info display instrument cluster with a wide range of configurability. The simple design continues the minimalist theme, and the quality is very good overall. However, the Tiguan is just lacking in specialness in its cabin. Without any stitched leather surfaces and a traditional design for its climate controls, the gear selector, and a steering wheel shared with the Mark 7 Golf. Interior volume is very good, with 73.5 cubic feet of space behind the first row and 37.6 cubic feet behind the second row, and a lot of rear knee room. On the road, the Tiguan feels refined and assured. The 2-liter TSI engine comes with 184 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, and enables it to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 8.2 seconds. Although it can feel sluggish at times with non-linear throttle response, it is still in the ballpark performance range of this segment, and the turbocharged engine helps it perform better at higher altitudes than the naturally aspirated engines of its rivals here. Handling is great, with a light, quick steering and nimble and firmly controlled chassis. The car manages 23 mpg combined and 27 mpg highway. Overall, the Tiguan offers the most compelling balance of style, technology, space, comfort and refinement, and is therefore the best overall pick for the segment. What do you guys think of this conclusion, and what are your thoughts on these 6 compact SUVs? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, please like and subscribe to be the first to see more great content like this in the future. Cheers!